Okay guys, so welcome to my workshop, and the workshop that you're going to be doing today is based on two things. And the first thing is called the core principle, so C-O-R-E, and the second part that you'll be learning today will be about something called marginal gains, both of which will hopefully help you improve as a sporting athlete as well as improve your educational journey. So the first thing that you're going to learn is the core principle. Each letter is part of an acronym, so the C stands for commitment, the O stands for ownership, the R stands for responsibility, and the E stands for excellence. Okay guys, so C, the first letter of our core principle, and the C stands for commitment. So we, on a daily basis, as educators, and I'm sure you do as well as students, are showing commitment. You're committed to school, you're committed to turn up on time, to turn up to lessons on a daily basis, to do your homework. All of that is showing commitment. So what I'd like to see from you guys is commitment throughout your workshop, throughout your program, but also in your educational journey. Commitment's slightly different to motivation. Motivation can ebb and flow, it can go up and down, but commitment should be a constant throughout. And without the commitment, it's very difficult to get any improvement or gains in the areas that you're looking for. What I'd like you to do for the next minute or so is jot down all of the things that you're committed to and how you're going to maintain that commitment throughout. C, and now we're going to move on to the O part of the core principle, and the O stands for ownership. So what we'd like to do is give you some ownership of your learning and the gifted and talented program. So when we talk about ownership, that's giving you guys a voice. So it's essentially asking you, what would you like? What would you like to achieve? What would you expect from us? And what do you expect from yourself? So it's your opportunity to let us know of what you're hoping for and what you're hoping to gain out of the program. You might also have some influence on how the program is run, what workshops we do in the future, and how we can also improve as a collective. So for the next 2 minutes, what I'd like you to do is make a note of all of the things that you would like to achieve from this program, but also what you'd like to achieve from your learning journey in school. Take ownership of your learning, take ownership of the program, and show us what you can do. So now that you've got ownership, we're going to move on to the R. So responsibility or accountability. So if you have ownership of your learning, your education, the gifted and talented program that you're going to be embarking on, if you have all of that, there is an element of responsibility that you need to have. So you will be responsible for your own actions, and we will be having expectations for those responsibilities. So things like, are you going to be turning up on time to your sessions? You are responsible for that, and we have certain expectations. Will you be handing your homework in time? Will you be making sure that you go to bed at night and making sure that you're getting enough sleep? Is your nutrition okay? So all of those things you are responsible for, and we have high expectations for. So for the next minute, I'd like you to note down all of the things that you think you're responsible for, that you know that you can make happen on a daily basis. The idea is that putting all of these elements together will provide excellence. So commitment, ownership, responsibility all lead towards the same thing, and that is excellence. So hopefully guys, with you putting all of this into practice and making sure that you're committed to turn up to your program, ensuring that you take ownership of your program and your learning, making sure that you're responsible and that there is accountability, all of that will add up to excellence, which is what we would all like you guys to achieve. So remember the core principle, try to use that in every element of your life, your learning, your education, as well as the gifted and talented program, and then this will ensure that gains will be made. Okay guys, so for part 2, we're going to be talking about marginal gains. Some of you may have already heard of this. It's a principle that got started by a man called Sir David Brailsford, and he worked for Team Sky. So a bit of a change from my voice, I want you to watch the video coming up where David Brailsford is talking about how marginal gains help Team Sky to victory. Enjoy guys.
I guess one of the things that, or one of the terms that I've been associated with is this marginal gains idea. It's something that I came up with a few years ago in order to try and describe what was then more of a philosophy than an actual tangible, it's this, and this. And basically the idea was pretty simple. It struck me that in all of the work that we were doing trying to improve cycling performances, that actually if you strip back everything that you could think of and improve each one by a small percentage, a marginal amount, when you clump it all together, you get this big improvement. So I think back in maybe around 2004, after the Athens Games, we started to think about these ideas. We had a situation where I could walk into the mechanics room here at the velodrome, and I could look at a wheel and the tyres are stuck on the wheel, and if the tyre wasn't quite straight, I would say to the mechanic, actually, you know, guys, hey, listen, I don't think this tyre's stuck absolutely straight here. It might not, you know, the rolling resistance might not be quite right. And the answer I used to get is, Dave, you're not a mechanic. That's our job. You can leave that to me, thanks very much. Which, of course, is highly ineffective in a team where we're trying to all improve. Having worked on this idea of marginal gains and where can we make little improvements and who can find what, If I now went into the mechanics room and I said the same thing, hey guys, listen, this tyre's not stuck on straight, what do you think? I'm absolutely convinced that the answer I would now get is, oh, cheers, Dave. Thanks for pointing it out. Yeah, brilliant, thanks very much. I'm going to put that right, brilliant. Because we're in the right mindset. We're looking for little things collectively all the time that's going to make us improve. We're open-minded to it. We're open-minded to new ideas. We don't see it as somebody scrutinising an area. We don't see it as criticism of me not doing something I'm meant to be doing. And that's the kind of philosophy that we wanted to develop. When we then actually think about what do marginal gains look like, I think that some of the relevant things that, that spring to mind. We, in the Tour de France, we race for 21 days, and Bradley and the team will stay in a different hotel for 21 consecutive nights. We don't know what kind of beds they're going to be sleeping in. We don't know what kind of pillows they're going to get. And when you think about it, their posture will change and they'll be sleeping in a different position with a different pillow every single night. For a highly trained athlete who's racing 6 hours a day, you couldn't think of a worse way of going about it. So what we now do, we decided we created our own bedding, which was made for each individual athlete, their length, their weight, how they sleep, their posture. We have a team that goes ahead of the race, they clear out each hotel room, they take the beds out, and we put our own beds in with the same pillow. So every single night the riders will sleep in a consistent position on a consistent bed, and absolutely the posture will remain the same. That is a marginal gain. It's not going to win you the Tour de France, but it can make a little difference towards helping the performance. I think another area, a good example may be that we spend an awful lot of time in meetings, as I'm sure you do, I'm sure a lot of us do, in our working lives. But it does strike me that if we measured the time we spent in meetings and we measured the effectiveness of that time, the results don't really represent the time and input that go into meetings. So, as a very simple marginal gain, I decided that we would actually look at our meeting structure. We have the same now, exactly the same format for agendas. We have the same format for minute taking. We have the same format for following up on actions. We have the same format when people come in, you don't use your phone. We have the same format of you do your work before you get there. When we come in there, we know what the outcome is. So we always start with what is the outcome that we're looking for out of this meeting. We spend our time talking about that, and it's quite clear how to work towards it. And I think that we moved from ineffective meetings to what are now very effective, productive meetings where people come in ready, they're prepared, they can read the minutes because they know how it works, and they can read the minutes of any meeting that's gone in the team in any different area, and immediately it makes sense to them. We know how things are going to be followed up, and we get our jobs done in a very time efficient way. That to me is a marginal gain. So I think there's two examples there of maybe the mindset that we try and put to work to make things better.
So now that you've had time to digest that information about marginal gains, what I'd like you to do now is for the next 3 minutes, consider what marginal gains you're going to do in your life and your routine to try and improve and make a bigger difference. So making those small changes to make a big gain, okay? Looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with.